And when a woman feels desire, when she is in that heightened state of attraction, she doesn't come out and announce it. She will never walk up and tell you in plain words what she is feeling, because female psychology does not work that way. Women communicate in layers. They drop signals. They shift their energy. And unless you are awake, aware, and masculine in your frame, you will miss all of it. The first thing you must understand is this. Women are not obvious when it comes to desire. Society has taught them to be subtle, to test, to conceal. So instead of looking for direct declarations, you need to pay attention to the shifts in behavior. The little things matter. The tone of voice, the sudden curiosity, the extra laughter at your jokes, even when they are not that funny. These are psychological breadcrumbs, and men who do not study them will always be left confused, wondering why she is acting differently, but never understanding why. When she redirects her attention toward you, that is not random. The human brain is wired to give energy where it feels connection, and for a woman, this becomes amplified in moments of heightened attraction. That is why she suddenly invests more time, looks for you more often, or even argues with you more passionately. To the untrained eye, it might look like she is just in a mood, but in reality, her subconscious is speaking louder than her words. And if you learn to decode that, you will never be lost again. Understand also that emotions become stronger in these states. That's why you may see her laugh louder, ask more personal questions, or even get irritated faster if you ignore her. It is not confusion, it is intensity. Her psychology is showing you her vulnerability in the only way she knows, by amplifying the signals. She is testing if you can recognize her energy without her needing to spell it out. And the men who fail are the ones who think everything women do is random. There is no randomness. There is psychology. Playfulness is one of the strongest indicators. Women use teasing not just for fun, but as a subconscious test. It is her way of checking whether you are strong enough to handle her energy, whether you can lead or whether you crumble. If she jokes, mocks lightly, or creates small challenges, it is not to annoy you. It is to evaluate your confidence. Fail here, and you lose attraction instantly. Pass here, and you unlock her deeper feminine side. When a woman is in a state of heightened desire, the most powerful indicator is not her words but the way her behavior shifts. This is something most men never pay attention to. They are too focused on what she says, when in reality, her psychology reveals itself through subtle changes in her actions, her body language, and her energy. Female attraction and arousal are rarely communicated directly. Society, culture, and even evolutionary biology have taught women to mask it, to play it out in indirect ways, leaving signals rather than confessions. This is why if you are the kind of man who only listens to words, you will remain blind to her truth. But if you are attentive enough to read between the lines, to sense the shifts in her behavior, you will unlock a deeper understanding that most men never achieve. These behavioral shifts are not random. They are rooted in psychology and biology. Think about it. The human brain is designed to protect vulnerability. Arousal, desire, and attraction are some of the most vulnerable states a woman can experience because they expose her longing, her feminine energy, and her inner world. So instead of openly declaring what she feels, her subconscious leaks it out through changes that are noticeable if you are wise enough to pay attention. She might suddenly become more animated around you, her tone of voice may change, her laughter might come more easily, or she might find excuses to remain close to you. None of this is coincidence. It is psychology playing out in behavior. One of the clearest shifts happens in body language. A woman in that state unconsciously adjusts her posture when she is around the man she desires. She may sit straighter, tilt her head, or expose her neck more. These are primal signals of openness, of availability, of attraction. Even her eyes tell a story, longer eye contact, dilated pupils, or frequent glances in your direction. These are not small details. They are the language of the subconscious, and the man who is sharp enough to recognize them gains an insight that others overlook. Energy shifts also play a huge role. Have you ever noticed how a woman's vibe can suddenly feel different around you? One moment she is neutral, casual, almost indifferent, and the next moment there is a glow, a vibrancy, a certain spark in how she interacts. This is not just mood, this is a behavioral shift tied to desire. Women may not speak it out loud, but their energy always betrays them. A woman who feels attraction radiates it, whether she wants to or not. Her psychology pushes her to align her behavior with her emotions, and even when she tries to hide it, the truth leaks out. Another interesting shift is in attention. When a woman is in that heightened state, she begins to prioritize the man who is triggering it. She listens more closely, asks more personal questions, or shows curiosity about the little details of his life. She might suddenly notice what he is wearing, how he smells, or how he moves. This is her mind narrowing its focus. Attraction biologically works to eliminate distractions, pulling her toward what she perceives as valuable. If you notice that her attention to you becomes sharper, more intentional, this is a behavioral shift that speaks louder than any words. It's also worth mentioning that behavioral shifts can sometimes look contradictory. For example, some women become more shy, more reserved, or even avoidant when they feel desire. This is not disinterest. It is the opposite. It is self-protection. When emotions run deep, some women retreat, trying to maintain control, trying to conceal the vulnerability they feel. So if you misread her withdrawal as rejection, you may miss the truth. This is why awareness and emotional intelligence are critical. You cannot look at behavior on the surface. You have to look at what psychology drives it underneath. Another subtle but powerful shift happens in the way she communicates. Her voice may soften, become warmer, more feminine. She might use more laughter, even at things that aren't especially funny, as a way to release nervous energy. Or she might lean into playful sarcasm, using humor to disguise her deeper feelings. These shifts in communication are deeply psychological. When desire rises, the brain often struggles to maintain composure, and behavior becomes layered with signals that only a mindful man can decode. The beauty of these behavioral shifts is that they prove a universal truth. Women are not complicated, they are simply subtle. They speak through energy, through actions, through patterns of behavior that reveal what their words often hide. The man who trains himself to recognize these shifts becomes more powerful, not because he manipulates women, but because he understands them. And understanding creates confidence. It allows a man to remain calm instead of confused, present instead of reactive. Now, why is this important for you? Because most men live in ignorance. They chase words, they wait for direct validation, and when they don't receive it, they assume there is nothing happening. They miss the silent signs, the indirect communication, the psychology that is always operating beneath the surface. And because they miss it, they label women as mysterious or complicated. But once you grasp this truth, that desire always reveals itself in shifts of behavior. You move from confusion into clarity. You must also remember that these shifts are not just about arousal, they are about testing. When a woman behaves differently around you, she is not only expressing desire, but also observing how you respond. Do you notice the difference? Do you crumble under her new energy, or do you hold your frame with calm confidence? Her subconscious wants to know if you can handle her at her most vulnerable, at her most feminine. That is why behavioral shifts matter so much. They are both expression and examination. So here is the message: never ignore the shifts. Pay attention to the subtle changes in her laughter, her tone, her energy, her proximity, her attention. These are the psychological signals that reveal where she is. And if you learn to recognize them, you will never again feel lost when it comes to female behavior. Instead, you will operate from a place of awareness, and awareness is power. The men who succeed in relationships, in attraction, in connection, are not the ones who chase or beg for words. They are the ones who can read the unspoken, who can sense the shifts, who can understand that psychology always leaks into behavior. That is where the truth lies, not in what she says, but in how she shifts when she is around you. When a woman feels attraction and desire, one of the most telling signs is the way her attention begins to shift. Human beings, by nature, direct their energy toward what they value. And for women, attention is currency. It is never wasted, never accidental. When her psychology is pulled towards someone, everything about her focus begins to realign. This is one of the most powerful indicators you can observe, because attention is the purest form of investment. A woman can pretend with her words, she can hide behind excuses, but where she gives her attention reveals her true state. The redirection of attention is not simply about looking at someone more often. It is about the priority her mind starts to give to him. When desire enters the picture, she begins noticing details she otherwise would not. The way he walks, the way he carries himself, the way he handles challenges. All of this suddenly stands out to her. What seemed ordinary yesterday now becomes interesting, even captivating. This shift is psychological. Her subconscious filters the environment, and when attraction heightens, it focuses the spotlight on the one who has stirred her emotions. Think about it in simple terms. In a world full of distractions, what a woman pays attention to reveals her hierarchy of importance. If her energy is directed toward you more than before, if she suddenly remembers small things you mentioned, notices your habits, or shows interest in your stories, it is not coincidence, it is psychology. Her brain has flagged you as valuable, and so her focus naturally gravitates toward you. This is not a conscious choice most of the time, it happens beneath awareness. That is why it is such a reliable indicator of desire. Now, attention can manifest in different ways. For some women, it becomes direct. She seeks you out in conversations, she asks you more personal questions, she finds reasons to interact. For others, it may show up indirectly, through curiosity about your life, subtle stalking of your social media, or even paying attention to your schedule and habits. The form may differ, but the principle remains: when attraction rises, attention follows. It is also important to understand that attention is not always positive. Sometimes, when a woman is in that heightened state, her attention may come through irritation, arguments, or playful conflict. This confuses many men. They assume that if she is challenging them or nitpicking, it must mean she is annoyed or disinterested. But often, it is the opposite. Desire makes her hyper-aware, and hyper-awareness can make every detail seem amplified. She is paying attention to you more closely, which is why she reacts more strongly. Even her irritation can be a form of attention redirection, because it shows that her focus has shifted onto you. One of the most fascinating aspects of this phenomenon is how it reveals the contrast between women's words and their actions. A woman may verbally downplay her interest, act indifferent, or even pretend she does not care, but her attention betrays her. If she notices when you enter a room, if she remembers things you said weeks ago, if she pays more focus to your mood than to anyone else's, she is already investing energy. Psychology does not lie. The subconscious directs focus toward what matters most, and that cannot be faked. This is why attention redirection is such a powerful indicator for men who are observant. You don't need to chase words or demand clarity. All you need to do is watch where her focus goes. Does she remember things about you that you barely remember saying? Does she bring up topics related to you when you are not even around? Does she suddenly show interest in your world, your hobbies, your struggles? These are not surface-level behaviors. They are evidence of a psychological pull. Another layer to understand is how this redirection of attention often comes with increased sensitivity. When a woman is in that state, she notices changes in you more quickly. She sees when your mood is off, when your energy is different, when you are distracted. She may comment on it, ask about it, or quietly observe it. But the fact remains, her attention has shifted to you in a way that makes her more attuned. This is not something she does with everyone. It is specific to the man who has captured her emotional and psychological energy. Men often make the mistake of thinking that desire will always show up in obvious affection. They look for extra compliments, extra warmth, extra openness. But in reality, sometimes desire looks like sharper focus, stronger reactions, or even more intense challenges. If she is paying attention to you in ways that stand out from how she treats others, that is your clue. Desire does not always come wrapped in softness. Sometimes it shows itself in intensity, and intensity always points to deeper psychological engagement. Attention redirection also reveals itself in the way she prioritizes you. Suddenly, your opinion matters more, your actions affect her more deeply, and your presence has greater weight. She may subtly adjust her plans to align with yours, or she may show up in spaces where she knows you will be. She may listen more closely to your views, even when she pretends to argue. This shift in prioritization is subconscious, but it is powerful. It means her inner world has rearranged to make space for you. What makes this phenomenon so profound is that attention is energy, and energy is one of the most valuable things a person can give. Anyone can offer words. Words are cheap, easy, and often meaningless. But where someone gives their attention, their focus, their time, that is where their truth lies. When a woman redirects her attention toward you, it is her psychology's way of saying you matter, even if her mouth never says it out loud. The key for men is to recognize this without arrogance and without desperation. Too many men either miss these signals completely or overreact to them, becoming needy or self-important. But the right response is awareness and calmness. Notice the redirection of attention, respect it, but do not let it throw you off balance. Her attention is not an invitation for you to lose control. It is a test to see whether you remain steady in your frame, even when her energy intensifies. So remember this truth: when a woman is in that state, she may never say it directly, but her focus will tell you everything you need to know. Pay attention to her attention. Watch how her energy shifts. Observe how her world subtly reorganizes itself around you. These are not coincidences. They are the psychology of desire revealing itself through behavior. And the man who can see this clearly will always be one step ahead, not because he manipulates, but because he understands. This is the power of attention redirection. It is the subconscious confession of desire. And once you learn to read it, you will never again feel lost in the mystery of female behavior. You will see clearly, act wisely, and move with confidence. When a woman experiences desire, her emotions do not stay neutral. They intensify. This is one of the clearest psychological patterns you can observe if you know what to look for. Attraction is not just a physical state, it is deeply tied to emotional energy, and when her hormones and psychology shift, it amplifies everything she feels. Small things suddenly become big, subtle reactions become more powerful, and the man who does not understand this will either misinterpret it as drama or fail to recognize it as desire. But the truth is simple: when attraction rises, Emotions intensify. This emotional intensification shows itself in many different forms. A woman may suddenly become more affectionate, more expressive, more open about her curiosity and interest. She might laugh harder at your jokes, even if they are not particularly funny, because her emotional state has heightened her sense of connection. She may ask deeper questions, trying to get closer to your inner world, because her psychological walls are lowering under the weight of desire. But this is just one side of the spectrum. On the other side, emotional intensification can also look like irritation, impatience, or even sudden mood swings. A woman who is deeply affected by attraction is not always calm and collected. Sometimes she becomes restless, frustrated, or more easily triggered. Men often misread this, assuming she must be upset or losing interest. But in many cases, these are symptoms of heightened emotion. Desire is not a logical state, it is an emotional one. And when emotions rise, they do not always come out as softness. Sometimes they come out as fire. The important thing to grasp is that these heightened emotions are not random. They are directly tied to biology and psychology. When attraction is present, the body releases chemicals that heighten feelings. Dopamine, oxytocin, and adrenaline begin to play a role, creating a storm of energy inside her. Her nervous system becomes more sensitive, her focus narrows, and her emotions ride higher than usual. That is why her responses to you may suddenly feel exaggerated. It is not exaggeration, it is intensification. You will notice this most clearly in her interactions with you compared to her interactions with others. If she laughs harder with you than with her friends, if she gets more upset when you ignore her than when others do, if she reacts more strongly to your absence than to anyone else's, that is emotional intensification at work. It is her psychology's way of signaling that you matter more, even if she never says it directly. A man who pays attention to this contrast will see her truth more clearly than the man who only listens to her words. Another layer of emotional intensification is vulnerability. When attraction rises, a woman may suddenly share more of her personal thoughts, fears, or past experiences. This is not just casual conversation, it is emotional exposure. She is opening doors she usually keeps closed, because her heightened state is pushing her toward deeper connection. Many men miss the importance of this, brushing it off as small talk. But in reality, vulnerability is one of the strongest indicators of desire, because it shows she feels safe enough to let her emotions surface more intensely. It is also important to understand that intensification magnifies both positive and negative emotions. If she feels joy, she feels it more deeply. If she feels jealousy, it hits harder. If she feels ignored, it stings sharper. Attraction heightens sensitivity, and sensitivity amplifies reactions. This is why many women in that state might test more, challenge more, or even pull away suddenly. They are not confused, they are overwhelmed. And because they are overwhelmed, their emotions swing with greater intensity. For men, this is where awareness and emotional control become vital. If you misinterpret her heightened emotions as instability, you will respond with frustration or detachment, and that will kill the connection. But if you recognize that these emotional surges are signs of attraction, you can remain calm, centered, and strong. That is exactly what a woman is looking for in these moments. Not a man who mirrors her emotions, but a man who can hold steady while she rides her waves. Another fascinating aspect of emotional intensification is how it makes a woman more creative in her expression. When she is in that state, her messages may become longer, her humor more playful, her energy more vibrant. She might send random texts, call unexpectedly, or come up with excuses to engage. Her creativity is not random, it is fueled by the intensity of her emotions. The subconscious seeks expression, and when attraction is strong, expression becomes bolder. At the same time, this intensification can also make her quieter. Silence in this context is not emptiness but depth. Sometimes when emotions rise too high, she withdraws to process them. She might go silent, act mysterious, or even create distance. Many men panic in this phase, assuming she has lost interest. But often, the silence is simply her way of managing the storm inside. She is still intensely connected, but she is trying to regulate her emotional overflow. Again, only the man with awareness can tell the difference between disinterest and intensification. It is also worth mentioning that women often test more intensely in this state. Why? Because attraction makes them vulnerable, and vulnerability triggers the need for reassurance. She may challenge you more, question you more, or tease you more, not because she wants to push you away, but because she wants to know if you can handle her at her most emotional. This is psychology's way of protecting her. Her tests are not meant to break you, they are meant to confirm your strength. And if you understand that, You will never be offended by them. You will pass them effortlessly. The bigger message here is that emotional intensification is not a problem to solve. It is a reality to recognize. When a woman is in that state, she cannot hide it. Her emotions will always reveal her. The laughter that lasts a little longer, the jealousy that flares a little faster, the irritation that comes a little stronger, all of it is evidence of her desire. Men who misinterpret it will always call women complicated, but men who understand it will see the clarity beneath the storm. So here is the truth. When a woman feels attraction, her emotions amplify. She becomes more expressive, more reactive, more vulnerable, more alive. And if you learn to read this intensification not as confusion, but as connection, you will never again feel lost in the mystery of female behavior. Instead, you will move with calmness and confidence, knowing that her emotional surges are not obstacles but signals. Signals that she is drawn to you, signals that her psychology is shifting, signals that her desire is real. The challenge for you is simple. Do not get swept up in her waves. Stay grounded. Let her emotions intensify without letting them destabilize you. If you can do that, you not only pass her tests but also give her the security she craves. Because at the end of the day, a woman does not want a man who matches her emotions. She wants a man who steadies them. And that is the real power of understanding emotional intensification. It transforms what most men see as confusion into clarity. It turns what others call drama into truth. It shows you that heightened emotion is not a problem, but a sign. A sign that she is invested, that she is vulnerable, and that you hold more weight in her world than she will ever admit in words. When a woman is in a heightened state of attraction or desire, one of the clearest psychological mechanisms she uses is playfulness. But here is what many men miss. Playfulness is rarely just play. It is testing. It is not testing in a malicious way, but in a subconscious and protective way. A woman's psychology is built around filtering, around finding out whether the man she is drawn to can handle her energy, her intensity, and her vulnerability. And the tool she often uses to reveal this truth is playful teasing, banter, or even small challenges that seem innocent on the surface. If you do not understand this, you will misread her. But if you do, you will see that playfulness is one of the most powerful signs of desire. Why does this happen? Because when attraction rises, vulnerability rises with it. For a woman, opening up to her desires is risky. Her subconscious mind knows this, so it seeks safety before surrendering. That is why tests appear. They are not meant to destroy you or push you away. They are meant to check whether you are strong enough to be trusted with her feminine side. And since women are rarely direct in communicating attraction, these tests are disguised as humor, as play, as little games. A common example is teasing. She may mock something about you, the way you dress, the way you speak, or even a habit she notices. To an unaware man, this looks like disrespect. He reacts defensively, gets offended, or pulls away. But to the man who understands psychology, this is not disrespect at all. It is her subconscious saying, can you handle me? Can you remain confident even when I challenge you in a playful way? If you can laugh with her, stay grounded, and respond without losing composure, you pass the test. You show her that you are strong, secure, and unaffected by small jabs. And that is exactly what amplifies her attraction. Playfulness also shows up in the way she creates small challenges. She may ask you questions that are slightly provocative just to see how you respond. She may create scenarios where you need to show decisiveness, or she might purposely delay a response to test your patience. Again, these are not games designed to waste your time. They are subconscious strategies to evaluate your frame. Her psychology is always asking, is he grounded enough to lead, or will he collapse under pressure? And she finds her answer not in your words, but in how you handle her playfulness. Another powerful form of playful testing is what psychologists call push-pull. This is when she gives you warmth one moment and pulls back the next. She may compliment you, then tease you immediately afterward. She may show deep interest, then act like she is indifferent. This back and forth is not because she is confused. It is because she is testing your consistency. If your mood swings with hers, she learns that you are reactive. If you stay calm and steady, she learns that you are strong. Push-pull is her way of asking silently, do you stay the same man no matter what mood I bring? The beauty of playfulness is that it allows a woman to express desire without fully exposing herself. Instead of coming out and saying, I like you, she can mask her attraction with humor and teasing. This gives her protection. If you respond poorly, she can always say, I was just joking. But if you respond with strength and confidence, she can deepen the connection. That is why playfulness is so powerful, is attraction wrapped in safety. Men often complain about these tests, labeling them as games. But here is the truth. Testing through playfulness is not a game designed to waste your energy. It is female psychology protecting itself. A woman does not want to invest in a man who crumbles, who overreacts, or who loses control. She wants to know that the man she is drawn to is capable of leading, of holding space, of being consistent. And she finds out by observing how he handles her playful energy. If you see this for what it is, you will never be annoyed by it again. Instead, you will embrace it as proof of her attraction. Now, not all playfulness looks the same. For some women, it is light-hearted teasing. For others, it is sarcasm, wit, or challenges. Some women might even use playful competition, trying to beat you at something small just to see how you handle it. In every case, the psychology is the same. Attraction is present, but before it deepens, she needs proof of your strength. She needs to know that her energy will not overwhelm you, that her emotions will not destabilize you, and that her desire will not control you. Another critical point is that playfulness often comes with increased presence. When a woman is attracted, she invests her attention by engaging with you more, even if it is through teasing. A woman who does not care about you will not bother to test you. She will not play, she will not challenge, she will not tease. Indifference is silence. Playfulness is interest. So when you see her poking fun, when you feel her creating little challenges, remember that this is not rejection, it is connection. It is her psychology pulling you closer while making sure you are safe to get closer to. Men who understand this dynamic gain a massive advantage. Instead of reacting emotionally, they respond with humor, with calmness, with confidence. They turn her playfulness into an opportunity to build chemistry. They mirror her energy, but keep their frame. And the result is that the test becomes a bond, the teasing becomes attraction, and the playful tension becomes intimacy. This is how women fall deeper, not by men trying to explain themselves, but by men who can dance with their playfulness without losing their core. So what is the lesson here? Playfulness is not a waste of time. It is not immaturity. It is psychology. It is her way of saying, I feel something, but I need to know if you are strong enough for it. Every tease, every sarcastic comment, every push-pull moment is a silent question. And the answer she is looking for is not in your words, but in your energy. Do you stay grounded? Do you laugh with her? Do you hold your masculine frame while allowing her to express her feminine playfulness? If the answer is yes, then you pass every test without even trying. And that is the secret most men miss. Attraction is not built on perfection, it is built on energy exchange. A woman's playfulness is not meant to confuse you but to confirm you. And if you understand this, you will stop being frustrated by it and start seeing it for what it really is, one of the clearest signs of desire. So the next time a woman teases you, jokes with you, or challenges you in small ways, do not overthink it. Do not react defensively. Recognize it as her psychology speaking. Recognize it as attraction wrapped in disguise. Recognize it as her subconscious asking, can you handle me? And if you can respond with calmness, humor, and presence, the answer will always be yes. Because at the end of the day, testing through playfulness is not about games, it is about safety. And when she feels safe with your strength, her attraction does not just remain, it grows.